Hey guys, Matt here, and welcome to r/RegularRevenge, day number 1. I'm very excited for this, although this is probably not a very popular subreddit considering the votes that I'm seeing on the left, and the highest has only 2.5k. Oh jeez, this is going to be an interesting one. So today I have 4 stories lined up. I am re-recording some episodes because I did not have my mic plugged in. Yay! First up, Regular Revenge. Let's see you little punk smash my mailbox now. What? That is quite the mailbox. Concrete mailbox. This reminds me of this guy who used to live on my dad's street. Every time it snowed, the snowplow would take out his mailbox, and only his mailbox. Just to be clear, it was done intentionally. No one knows why, but the driver of the snowplow would target his box and mow it down. He explained the DOT to... He called the DOT to complain and would get an earful of excuses that amounted to, "Not our fault, you have a wimpy mailbox." Fast forward to the next winter. First decent snow starts falling and every kid is hoping for a snow day. It was right around 4:30 a.m. that the whole neighborhood was woken up to this loud clang and the screech of tearing metal. My dad made it to the window first and started laughing his ass off. Sitting outside was one very totaled, almost ripped in half snowplow. And these weren't these little pickup trucks with a blade on the front. We have these in New York. Well, turns out over the summer, my dad's neighbor got himself a backhoe and sank a steel I-beam into the ground in his front yard. He then covered it with a decorative wood sleeve and topped it with a brand new mailbox. When the snowplow driver tried to mow it down, it was a bad case of immovable object meets unstoppable force, and the mailbox won. With the plow firmly impaled on the I-beam, it was very clear that the driver had gone out of his way to hit it. Naturally, the DOT wasn't happy, and the neighbor's reply was simple: "Not my fault, you have a wimpy snowplow." They did try to sue him for the damages, but as he had gone to the town, got approval for the post and its installation, and made sure everything was up to code, it was thrown out pretty quick. And for anyone wondering about the driver, he was fine. His job and his study whitings? Not so much. Ooh, he really shat himself on that one. Oh my gosh. Also, I don't know how I managed to produce such a clang. Like, I managed to produce the perfect sound there. Because I sort of shook myself when I said it, so it made it sound like it vibrated. But neighbor is an epic person. You got the snowplow ruined on behalf of OP's dad. She's like, "You want a fight? I got ya." I got your back, bro. When United Airlines broke this guy's guitar and refused to reimburse him, he made a YouTube video that got so popular that it sank the UA stock by 10%. The airline finally reimbursed him. Damn. When United Airlines baggage handlers broke a musician's valued guitar and then spent a year refusing to pay for repairs, he wrote a song called "United Breaks Guitars" that got over 60 million hits on YouTube, reportedly causing United stock to sink 10%. and finally forced them to pay 3,000 compensation. I feel like the damage is already done at that point. Also, is he using the broken guitar for the song? Because that is petty. That's the petty part of the regular revenge. Just nice. Just nice. Using the broken guitar to write the song. Have you ever wished you could tell a regular customer just how awful interactions with them are/were without losing your job? This was my chance. A former customer posted a video, OC, on a local subreddit, and I recognized him immediately. Also, please let me know if this does not belong here. Sir, I have waited on you more than 50 times at a place in... I have not worked there in years, but I remember you, the lady you were always with, and the van you drove very well. I hope you have changed, because you are always a terrible, horrible, not nice person, no matter how kind everyone around you attempted to be towards you. Also, be nice to that lady if she is still part of your life. You are absolutely atrocious to her. Just be kind. I don't think this is something that fits on regular revenge. Because you're not really getting revenge. You're just telling a person to be nice. Like, there's not much there. It's just like you're putting the person in their place. That's all you're doing. My manager is physically and emotionally abusive, so I get her undercover bossed and fired. This one is a long one, so buckle in. The TLDR is the title. One summer I was working as a server at a well-known pizza restaurant. It was in a small tourist town, so it was amazing money, and as a university student, that was all that mattered to me. This job was so horrible that I could go home wanting to quit, count my tips, and decide I could put up with it for one more day. The reason it was so horrible was because of the manager, Tracy. Tracy was hot-headed, irrational, a liar, a manipulator, and overall a terrible human being. I watched her terrorize the other servers and kind of kept my head down to avoid it. Examples of her being horrible. She once screamed at me because the entire restaurant didn't have cutlery on the tables. Because the restaurant physically didn't have enough and she was too cheap to order more. I was in the middle of filling drinks for a table when she made me stop and go into the kitchen to run the dishwasher. She then yelled at me because the table didn't have full drinks. This all happened in front of a guest who ended up saying something to Tracy about her behaviour. After Tracy left, the guest assured me that she was going to be reporting her once another server was running her food. Tracy physically grabbed the server by the arm and pulled her back into the kitchen because that server didn't run the ticket before hers. They got into a screaming match and the cops were called. The server sent me photos of her bruised arm the next day. Tracy played the cops like a fiddle and was like, that never happened, and batted her eyelashes. I'm not sure how she got away with that. My sister was the hostess and was only making $12 a week in tip out. The other servers and I did the math, and my sister should have been taking home $40 a night. Ironically, Tracy had a new boat and a new truck. My sister messed up. I don't remember how, and Tracy took me into the back of the restaurant to scream at me. We were out there for a full 15 minutes before the supervisor told her they needed me back. The supervisor was an angel, and she comes back into the story a bit. This was a while ago, and I'm sure I'll think of more, but for now I will continue with the story. Tracy's reputation in town was awful. The locals would not eat there because of her. In a small community, everyone had a story about her. I'd get sympathy when people found out where I worked. So that tells you just how bad it was. Supervisors told the franchisees about how bad the working conditions were, but every time they would investigate, she would turn into a completely different person. She was kind and helpful, and working for that side for her wasn't so bad. But when they weren't there, the working conditions were awful again. It seemed like they would never catch her in her natural element. The revenge part of my story began on my last day of work. We had a health inspection and failed, so I knew Tracy would be particularly awful that day. I looked at the angel of a supervisor and told her that if Tracy screamed at me, then I was walking out. The supervisor said she wouldn't blame me and didn't know why I had put up with it for so long. So anyways, Tracy gets in and of course she starts yelling at me until I start crying. I finished my last table and walked out, taking my sister with me. Down 2 staff members, the restaurant was in trouble. We drove by it 30 minutes later and there was a lineup out the door because there was no hostess seating people. Tracy had to seat people and serve my section. When I got home, I messaged all the staff that I had quit over the summer. I told them that I was whistleblowing and that they should too. The girl that was physically assaulted ended up writing a letter and sending photos of her bruised arm. My letter ended up being 2 pages long, single-spaced, and included everything I've mentioned, with emphasis on her having 2 different personalities when the franchises were there. A few months later, my sister got a message from the dishwasher saying that Tracy got fired and the angel supervisor took her position. Because of that, I decided to go back the following summer. I was hired immediately. While working there, I discovered the results of my actions. The restaurant was rated the lowest in the country under Tracy's management. This, coupled with the whistleblowers and the civilian complaints, resulted in serious investigation. I don't remember how high up in the company he was, but a higher up ended up going to the restaurant under the intent that he was a new supervisor coming to help because she was short-staffed. He observed her behavior for 2 weeks. After the 2 weeks, he told her, "Here's a step-by-step plan of how we're going to fix the restaurant." Her response was, "Who the fuck do you think you are?" I guess when he told her, the expression on her face was priceless. I wish I saw it. Anyway, she obviously got fired and is now working at a fast food pizza place in the same town. The place is always empty because the locals still actively boycott her. I know it was long, but thanks for sticking with me. It's like the show Undercover Boss. She literally just got owed and fired by someone higher than her, pretending to be a supervisor. That's how you sneak an investigation in. Undercover Boss and wreck. I love how her response before she found out was, "Who the fuck do you think you are?" It's like shooting yourself in the foot. It backfires. Anyways, I'm going to end this episode here. Links will be in the description to the main channel and also this channel where there's links on the screen to the playlist and the last episode. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when the next video comes out. A ding, ding. I'm the Mad Scientist. Mad Scientist out.